Good morning, folks. My name is Mike Bertinoli. I'm Planning Operations Section Chief Trainee for Great Basin Team 3. Happy to be here with you on the Monroe Canyon fire. Today's our second operational period on the fire, and I'm just going to give you a brief operational overview what we've got going on for today's shift as we move into the coming days and weeks. Just a quick update on me. I'm going to be with you for a little bit from Vernal, Utah. I work for the Ashley National Forest, and once again, happy to be in your community helping out. So let me just go around the map. What we've done over the last couple of days is set ourselves up geographically to accept a very large contingent of resource wildland firefighters to come in and help with the Monroe Canyon incident. So I got a pointer here. We'll see how it works. I'm going to go around the map, and I'll start on the west side here. This is the real visible part of the fire that folks from the community of Monroe are seeing. You can kind of watch it backing down off Monroe Mountain. We're feeling pretty good about that piece of ground. We got some rain over the last little bit. It's kind of settled that down. It is still visible. I'll tell you what we've got going. We've got Division Alpha down there, and Trevor, his name is Trevor. He's working the west side of the fire. What we're going to do is put different check lines in here using some equipment and fire engines just to catch that fire if it happens to back down off the slope. Kind of light, flashy fuels down in this country, and so we feel great that if that fire continues back down off that slope, we'll be able to pick that up and contain the west side of that fire. So that's the west side. Now, this fire, when it's spread and just predominant winds in our area, come from the southwest. And so we've focused a lot of our efforts and energy on the northeast side of the fire. Try to point at that. What we have here, and let's start out kind of up top. Here we've got Big Lake, communities, summer residences that are up in Big Lake. We've got a group up there that's doing what we call contingency planning. So up there saying, okay, worst case scenario, this fire spreads up there. What are we going to do to capture that fire before it gets there? So we have a division group supervisor. He's up there figuring out plans. And initially, what we want to do is come off of Signal Peak, right in here, Prominent Peak. We're looking at what we call an indirect line. And so that's a line that's a ways from the main body of the fire. Using equipment, dozers, hand crews, we're going to construct a line that comes down off Signal Peak and carries a trail system into this flatter country down near Maggleby Reservoir. It's going to take us some time to get that put in. With that said, scouting's going on for that. Folks out looking at it. Intention there is to start construction of that line. And again, just contingency, if this fire decides to pick up and move to the northeast, that's how we're going to engage that fire. All right, let's continue down the eastern side here. So remember, we're trying to bring line down into this piece of ground here just north of Maggleby Reservoir. Division Mike, Joe Williams, our group supervisor up there, he's doing prep work around the summer residences around Maggleby Reservoir. Same kind of work. He's got hand crews up there. They're looking to put a piece of line that would come essentially from the reservoir down to where we've got an active fire edge. So we use a few different tactics here. Right where that fire edge is hot, we'll work that line direct. And so direct means we'll get our hand crews in there, just putting the fire out the direct piece of edge. As we continue north off that hot edge, that's where we get into new line construction, and should we need to, we can take a posture with a couple different methods. We can fire off that. Fire off means essentially backfiring, so we're going to take out green fuel in between the main body of the fire and our line with essentially burning efforts. No plans for that yet. Remember, this is early in the fire. We're just getting everything in place to make that happen. So I guess the take home on this piece of ground here, We're going to do as best we can with direct, just firefighting efforts where it's hot, and then start to look at our options up on the west side of Magleby Reservoir. Let's move down as we go to the southeast side of the fire in here, and had some fire move through a couple of summer residence communities, Monroe Meadows, Manning Meadows. Know everybody's familiar with those pieces of ground. And so where that fire went through, we've got crews out, hand crews, fire engines, and they are essentially doing direct firefighting efforts on the heat that exists around those communities. And that work will continue for several days. The rain settled us down a little bit, but there's a ton of work in there. So we're going to put a lot of firefighters in those communities. We're going to put them behind around wherever that fire went through, and do our best to put all of this fire out around those communities. Again, that work's going to be ongoing. Once we get where we feel very confident that our structures are in good shape, we'll pick up direct fire edge and start to work around towards containment of this southeast side. So kind of priority wise, the community summer residences, that's our number one. We want to get those fires put out around those, and then as time allows, picking up hard direct edge and just putting all that fire out as we work around the fire. So do want to say a lot of work in front of us. This is a pretty large incident and grew very rapidly. So we're sitting around 8,600 acres right now, and we're essentially 5 days or so into this incident. So expectations for you folks there is we're going to spend some time, and right now the fire activity looks, I don't know if benign is the right word for it, but it's definitely moderated from what we saw 3 or 4 days ago. We do expect that to pick up a little bit with weather next week. Starting Sunday, Monday, going to have a much hotter and drier weather. At that point, you'll start to see our fire activity increase a little bit. But the next few days are going to give us an opportunity to really get a toehold into this incident. So that's all I've got for you today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for your time.